I don't do many reviews on my channel, but I'm doing one today. Lucky is a film manufacturer out of China, and they haven't been making film for a while, like, I don't know, 10 plus years. But they've started selling a 100 speed film, and then they've got this new 400 speed film, and it's advertised as a new SHD 400. And I got pretty excited. I thought, they have a Kodak line from a long time ago, and they still have it, and they've turned it back on, and now we're getting SHD 400 again. So I ordered a roll, and check out the price, $5.99. Right, everything is looking really good. Right? But I should have seen more warning signs. So here, this I didn't notice this until after I got my results today. So it says we recommend shooting the film at 200. All right, so and then they have some example photos. So I'm gonna take it that they shot this at 200, and um, here are their example photos. So if they've shot this at 200 and it's a 400 speed film, right, what stands out to me is like there is not much shadow detail. The shadows look pretty darn dead. And I'm also seeing lots of like scanning, like little right hairs and dust, which show up more when a negative is underexposed. And again, just sort of dead shadows. And this is probably they shot this at 200. All right, so oh yeah, but what did I do? Well, it's a 400 speed film, so I shot it at 800, right? And I thought I would just make sure I developed it plenty well. Here is, right, a shot of the product. Look at this terrible cut. They cut through the perforation, and they cut here. I mean, look at this. It's like jagged little mess right here. Oh, I should have known this. And then what color is this base? So I took some pictures too. So here's my picture of the product, and then here's a picture of the leader that I just couldn't believe, and then here are my negatives. So I developed this in Xtol, and I pushed it hard. Right, I wanted to make sure that I had lots of density, and so I did 1:1 in 75 degrees for 11 minutes, right? This is basically like at least a +2 push, if not more. And these negatives were so thin that I could barely see the difference between the frames to scan them in. So, I mean, at this point, and I have more example photos, but I don't even know that this is a 200 speed film. It sort of looks like a 100 speed film, maybe not even that. So, all right. So here are my example shots. Again, I'm metering for 800, and I pushed it at least +2. The shadows are just dead. I think you could like brag that it has fine grain for a 400 speed film, but again, it's not a 400 speed film. The and maybe it's relatively sharp, right? And again, this is gonna like people who shoot a lot of surveillance film, they're just gonna be like, oh yeah, this is just surveillance film. Right, it's super thin. Like this the thinnest film that I've ever tried to handle. Um, all right, here's one where, again, where there's like lots of light. It's like it's not a terrible film, right? So yeah, I think if I was going to shoot this again, I would shoot it at 100. um, Um, I will say that whenever you're shooting negatives that are super, super thin, it's a good chance to see if your lens or your sensor need cleaning, right? So like this, I think is something I need to clean off of probably my sensor, and I had another little spot. So that was sort of a silver lining to this is I got a chance to see if my sensor needed to be cleaned. And then again, like I hung this up and let it dry, and then and immediately brought to scan it. And I've never had this much dust in little things that I can see, and that's a product of both of just how thin it is, but also it's probably has terrible anti-static properties. Um, this shot, this shot right here again is like there's a ton of light up here. What is this thing? What is that? So, that looks okay. But I was, it was metering more like right here, and it just looks. And you might say, oh, it's a high contrast. I had to add a bunch of contrast just to like have anything resembling. You can see if I try to lift the shadows, like there's just nothing. Um, oh, I will say, I was so worried that like maybe that I don't know my developer, which is fresh, was somehow bad. So I came to like Lomography's examples of this film. Right, this is just underexposed, 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 underexposed. Right, it's I'm not the only one having this experience. Here again, like where the sun is shining through, right? That's maybe something I could use as a film. Um, all right, my test scene, my favorite test scene, which I am testing a few different lenses. This is so see here. This is my version 1 Summicron 35, and then that's my pre-spherical Summilux 35, and then this is a Zeiss 35 2.8. the the pre-spherical, and I wouldn't judge them too much because these are so underexposed. It was hard for me just to even like edit these into sort of having midtones and highlights and shadows. So it was really a waste of trying to test lenses. But here it's like, okay, like this isn't so bad, right? My good old test scene. So again, but it's like if I have to shoot this thing at 100, um, it's a totally different. I'm now comparing it to like FP4, right? And it's like, okay, why would I be shooting this film? I mean, I guess it was cheap, but again, this one, just like you can just see, there's nothing below a midtone has quality. And I mean, none of these shots were super great. Oh, I do have a couple of good ones, but I mean, I'm sort of just mad at the film for like, why did I waste my time with you? I mean, you see my son's face? This is basically how I feel about this film. Not like that. Like that. Here, like if I just wanted to go like, or if I wanted to edit in a way that was just like, ugh, not like that. But like, if I wanted some ridiculous, like basically binary black and white, maybe it'd be good for that. This shot, here's one that I'm sad about because they were playing Rochambeau and with like boxing gloves on, and this would have been a good shot, right? But it's not. So, yeah, that's the risk I take by playing with new film stocks. Now, these last four are maybe keepable, and it's because I knew the sun was like I'm shooting into the sun, and I just wanted to really make sure that I didn't get tricked by the meter. So I just exposed this basically as much as I could, right, with a 60th of a second wide open. And so these I feel like got, right, a little more exposure. Um, you know, if I come in here, I mean, it's just like, yeah, it's a picture. I mean, I like what I photographed. I don't like the film, right? Um, this one, like, look at this. This one, I don't know if I'm going to be able to find all the examples, but there's quite a bit of like, it looks like the surface has already been scratched. Right? See this stuff? Let's see if I have another example. Um, where's the other one? I won't be able to find it. Yeah, I don't think I'll be able to find it. But there are quite a few places where the surface looks scratched. And then this was, I don't know, this was maybe the only image that I would consider keeping. And even this one it's not. So I don't know. My quick review is that I wish I hadn't tried this film. But then I have to ask, like, it's not Lucky's not making this. This is nothing like, right. The sort of the story I know is that they have like an old Kodak line that they got a long time ago, and they ran it and made some film, and so this is not a Kodak thing. This is like they are selling somebody else's film and just using their name. And I look at sort of the flimsiness, and then sort of the, like, it had this weird tint to it, and then that all washed away, and it was super clear, and it's super thin, and it's like disappointing in its speed. It just sort of starts to add up to maybe being like Silbera 200 or something like that, or right. I don't know if it's a Tasma or right. It's some sort of like surveillance, really old AGFA recipe surveillance film. But it does look to be a little bit just like traditional panchromatic. So yeah, so I'm gonna just, if I had to guess right now, I'm gonna guess Silbera 200, which I actually have. So I could. That's the thing. I don't want to shoot this film again. But if I was going to, I would shoot it at 100, and I'd probably still push it in my developer, and that's it. So I'm gonna, hopefully, if anything, I've saved you from if you were also curious about this film. Yeah. Take care.